Good morning and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. Today, Wednesday, the 25th of August, 2021. My name is Folu Falodun and I welcome you to the show this morning. Thank you for being there and for joining us today. If it's your first time on the show, we say welcome to you. Excited to have you join us. And for those regular tribe members, thank you for always being there. Good Morning Education Show is that show where we have topical discussion and analysis on issues concerning education and that revolve around education. We have analysts, guests, and professionals who come to lend their voice to the topics that we have to discuss every morning. We start off first with the headlines from the daily, and then we move on to our topic on the show. This morning will not be different. This will not be different in that we keep to that lineup, but then it's a much more robust edition. So grab your phone, tell your friend, call them, and ask them to log in to the Good Morning Education Show this morning. Yeah, we'll be moving right on to the headlines of the day. Okay, we're joined by one of our analysts already. Good morning, Momotola Chishala.
Good morning, Fee.
Good morning. So we're moving on to our headlines on the show this morning. And the first headline, the ratio. The Nigerian Universities Commission says that for every one public university that there is a private university. What's your thoughts on this, Omoka?
So you're in and out, but I think it's a good thing. We discussed before some days ago that we don't have enough anyway. So the more um, universities we have, whether public or private, that are of quality and that can definitely enhance education, the better for the citizen. So I'm happy that we are growing and that there's no stagnation within the availability of university for students.
Will this not be a threat to education for children from homes that are not really well to do? We know what the cost of private education is, not only in the country, everywhere. The cost of private education is sky high. And for
Yeah, I don't think it will be a
many
threat.
people, the federal universities, if it continues at this rate, it will get to a point where it's no longer 50-50. It could be 40-60 or 30-70 in favor of the private universities. And very soon we'll have public universities going going almost out of business. Will that not be a threat to education and the affordability of it?
I think it's not going to be a threat. I think competition is good because if you look at the issue of our education system, especially with the public universities, they've been very complacent. So this is a good thing for them to be able to step up and hopefully, and we talked about this some weeks ago, how more than five more universities are being planned to be opened across various regions within Nigeria from the federal government in a way as well. So I think this is a good LD competition. I don't think we've gotten to that problem yet, and I don't even think that it will be a problem there. So I think the public university need that competition, and um, so I don't think it will be a threat to those that might be uh not be able to afford the private school. I think there will always be opportunity for people one way or the other.
All right. Um, do you want to say something about that? Hello, Masala. Would you want to say something about this headline? Okay, it looks like we've lost connection with Masala. But the um, Kebbi State Governor has approved 5 million naira as relief assistance to Kebbi to 95 of the students who are stranded in uni. Just remember, it suddenly became like state governors or state governments are in competition to to lend support or get their indigents out of uni jobs. It's suddenly beginning to look like that. But what Kelly is doing is, well, now they're not taking them out yet, but the governor has approved some money for their assistance. Well, at this rate, or with what we're used to, one just hopes that the money gets to the right quarters and that these students, if they need to maybe transport themselves and they're stranded, they will be able to with the fund dispersed to them. So, good thinking from the government, any government that takes the welfare of its citizens and puts it on the front burner. That really is what we ask for from government. And our next headline, FSCE, Kogi government moves against miracle centers. There is this miracle centers for those who are not aware of it, probably joining us from part of the world where you're wondering what are miracle centers. The miracle centers are those centers where miracles happen, but not the kind of miracles that you look out for. Essentially, centers where there is high level of examination malpractices and teachers, invigilators, exam officers just looking away. Many times candidates have to pay, especially for the centers. And the Kogi state government is saying that it is not going to condone this kind of center in its states. And they're putting in place machinery to ensure that this is fought down, this is fought out, and that, well, I think the Commissioner of Education, I can't remember that exactly now, said they were not and they are not going to tolerate academic or educational laziness. Uh, this fight is something that everybody, every stakeholder needs to join hands, and parents need to stop getting miracle centers for their wards, for their children. And students themselves should be encouraged to study hard and to earn the the results of their the study. So they should earn whatever they carry on their exam certificates, on their result certificates. The next headline says Akwa Ibom urged to introduce drug tests in secondary schools. uh, the issue of doping amongst teenagers. This is taking it to a different level. Initially, it looks like, oh, this is something that we'll be able to fight at orientation level and maybe getting people to talk to teenagers and tell them the effect of different. In some cases, we have people who had been drug addicts go to schools to talk to students, teenagers, young people, and let them know what the effects that doping had on them. But now the NDLEA in Akwa Ibom is urging the state government to introduce drug testing in schools. It's gotten that bad that now we want to know who are those involved and maybe how to rehabilitate them and get them help before it's too long. And well, one gets to ask the question: how did we get to where we are? How did it get so bad? How uh, why are we where we are? And I will just say that there are many contributing factors to this. There are so many contributing factors to this, and that will require a show on its own. But being proactive to arresting the situation, it's a way to go. And if drug testing in schools will be the solution, then so be it. So will be it. Our next headline: Igbobi College unveils plans for 90th Founders Day. The Igbobi College is clocking 90, whole of 90, and they are uh, planning for the Founders Day. They have a number activities lined up for that celebration, and for that they have a number of activities lined up for that event. At this point, I would say congratulations to the alumni of Igbobi College and to present students of the school. Also, the most really very proud of the school and of the alma mater right now. Longevity like this is something that is encouraged and that we look forward to in education. Our next headline. So a group. You're welcome back, Omotola. We lost you for a bit there.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that.
Welcome there. So, a group um, in Edo State is calling for the use and the employment of the Eshan language. They say it's going extinct and it's not used so much in the university system or in the university setting. What's your thoughts about mother tongue instruction and education?
I believe that there's a place for it. I'm not sure in the global sense of things, whether it merits it being like the ultimate, but I think there's a place for having options. Not everybody might have the opportunity to really understand or fully understand English, and maybe they don't need the global opportunities that requires English, but within the state or within the city where that language is spoken, then I think there is nothing wrong with having it as an addition to just the English language instruction. The question is, do we have enough instructors in all the subject areas that matters that can actually cover it in that language? And so I think that it's justifiable if they have concerns or if there is concerns about the extension of that. But I think it's always possible for to make it an option.
You know, one thing that always concerns me or that I think about is the fact that our indigenous in there on the verge of um, they're on the verge of being lost. But not many parents these days are bringing up the children in in English on English language, and we're insisting on them speaking English at home, and parents are not even able to teach their children the mother tongue anymore. So I think the score is one we should take seriously. no matter how much we speak the colonizers' language, no matter how much we try to sound like them, we really cannot be them. We really cannot sound like them. And our identity, the identity of any people, really is in the language. We should not allow our languages to die or to go extinct. We're gradually going towards that period or that time when foreigners begin to teach us our language. We have so many foreign exchange students these days uh, that are picking up local languages and somehow already teaching them back to us. Okay, our next headline: Nigeria. Can Buhari's 100% education budget pledge be met? Before we take your comments on that, Omotala, welcome to the show, White Sarah.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so Omotala, let's have your thoughts on this. Can Buhari's 100% education budget pledge be met?
I believe that they've been making promises and promises, and it's not even coming internally, it's externally. Like I know we discussed this some few weeks ago. Every time somebody visits him or is coming from a conference or something, that's when he now says, oh, I promise I'm going to increase the educational budget or do better with the education. So it's not really, and I always like, to fail to plan is ready to plan to fail. It's just saying I want to increase it by 50% in 2 years. What exactly? What area of education? Is it increase in salary? Is it increase in equipment? Is it increase in access to materials? Like what exactly is it increasing? So I think that I don't believe that I can meet it in the, in increase education budget in 50% in 2 years. I think it's just it sounds good when he's saying it at those like because he just returned from the what do you call it, the what summit, the education summit, and apparently how can you spend almost a month? It was the summit for 1 month because he said he left on July 26th and he's just coming back as of yesterday or something. So I'm like, even that money that they spent for that whole month trip, I wonder the dent it will have made in the education system if he's actually being proactive about it. So I don't believe that he can meet it. And I think it's just all empty promises without a solid plan to actually make it happen, or there's no specific CVT in terms of what area of education are they going to invest it in, how are they going to roll it out, and all of these kind of things. There are no fine details about it, so I think it's not going to happen. It's as good as if it's never going to happen.
Okay, so to get some perspective in, he had been back from the Education Summit for a while. He got back right after the summit, but then the president had to travel again for health check, and he got back sometime last week for his son's wedding. So he's been around for a while, not for that protracted time. But one thing that is heartbreaking in this is that the people, the citizens, do not trust the government. The government says one thing, and instantly you're doubting it. Instantly you're thinking, is this going to happen, or how are they going to make this happen? And so I see, and the that pledge or that promise to raise the education budget for me sounds like, well, just give them something to chew on. In 2 years, if his administration, well, depending on when in 2 years, the administration might be rounding off or already rounded down. And so nobody will be calling him to question or asking them to for accountability on that pledge, on that promise. And so it fuels the the distrust that the citizenry has for the government and in the government. And hopefully they can do better this time. The president got back and got maybe a little philosophical about his legacy and leaving a good name. So let's hope that that carries on and that it spreads into them doing what really is required of them. And we'll be moving into our discussion and our topic for today. Uh, okay, like Sarah has dropped out of the show, but we hope she joins us back because this morning we're talking about friendship, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about making friendship work. People get into, there are times you have known people who are friends for a while, and then maybe from school, and then you see one of them and you're asking about the other, and they just say stuff like, I don't know where he is, or I don't know where she is. It's been a while we talked, and you're wondering, you guys used to be very close. You guys used to be very thick together. What happened to you? And they're not even able to fully give you a reason for that stand or for why they're no longer in contact, or they just tell you stuff like that. Like, I don't know. So really, Omotola, what makes friendship work? Or first, let's start with what breaks friendship down.
Before I even go to that question, I'll first say that I believe that friendship can be for different reasons. So there is a friendship for a reason, for a season, and then there are friendship for lifetime. And I think sometimes we get it twisted. We think that some friendship are for lifetime when they're just for a reason. We think friendship is for a lifetime when they are just for a season. So first understanding what, and it can be hard in the beginning to really know where do I categorize this, because yes, ordinarily the intention would be to want it for a lifetime, but the truth of the matter is it might not be different. So regarding the question that you asked about um um what creates friendship breakdown, is that correct? I just want to make sure. Okay. Will be that I think it depends. There might be there's this Bible verse that say he who wants to be a friend must himself be friendly. I think sometimes if there are no clear boundaries are set, depending on the kind of friendship it is, if there are no, and then also what is friendship? Because for some people there's different definition of friendship. Some people they think friendship is only when you need them. That's when they are your friend, or when you, and then for some they're like no, whether you need them or not, it's for life, it's for doing life together and all of those kind of things. So first understanding your own definition of friendship and making sure that it's in alignment with the others. Because some people might consider you a friend when you consider them a colleague. So I think there's a lot of sometimes like muddy waters in defining friendship sometimes when it's not clear for real. But some of the reasons that I'm saying that I've in the friendship might be issues around not clarifying boundaries, having differences in value, and maybe sometimes life changes, like maybe life happen and then the person just drop out of the face of the earth for no reason or something in that regard. So there might be many reasons as to why friendship deteriorates, but I think it boils down to people or us not making the time or communicating that the value that the person brings to us over time. And then so maybe the other person might be feeling like I'm just giving, 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 and I'm not getting anything back in return. And so when there's that misalignment in giving versus receiving, that can create a bit of a breach or a break in the friendship. I cannot hear you. I still cannot hear you. Can you hear me? Mm-mm, you can't. Finn, can you hear him? Try to say something again. Still cannot hear you.
Okay, I was having issues with my audio also, but okay, can you hear me, Omotola?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, no, I can't hear you.
We can still hear you, say entire. I'm trying to read your list, but it's not
Okay.
working.
Okay. I think it's maybe a network glitch or a system glitch, whichever.
Is it better now?
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
now we couldn't even hear anything before, so this is best.
Okay. So I'll say good morning to you while we went off the grid.
Good morning.
Okay. We have seen that friendships are for, they could be for a season, they could be for a reason, and they could be for a lifetime. How is one able to tell which is the reason for a friendship? Are there criteria to measure to say, oh, this is the reason this friendship exists, and so I know that once that reason or once that season expires, is on to the next one. I would like to hear your opinion on that, Mr. Itaya.
All right. Thank you very much. I think that we must understand that we must live our lives by design. And so friendships do not happen in vacuum. I think that a lot of people mix togetherness for friendship, they mix convergence for friendship, they mix up or meet up, sorry, for friendship. They mix networking events for friendship. They mix checking up on you, playing and having banters for friendship. The truth about it is that friendship is much more than an interaction or a continuous interaction. Friendship begins from the place of relationship. It means that there must be consciousness of the fact that there's a life given to the interaction. Most times, friendship begins post interaction and it must be seen like a contract. Friendship must be seen like a date. Friendship must be seen like a business. And a lot of people do not understand the capacity of friendship, male to male, female to female, male to female, colleague to colleague, colleague to boss, bosses to bosses, boss to subordinate. A lot of people don't understand that. And I have this personal rule for you to be able to know whether A or B is friends for life. I think that to conquer that probability, because a lot of things are built around probability or conditions. The first thing is you need to begin with the end in mind. I don't know if you've heard me say that before, but for a lot of people, I have opportunity to tell them, look, friendship is something you begin with the end in mind. You don't begin with what's in sight. Because the time I meet an individual, the time I met an individual might not totally paint the picture of the possibilities forthwith, as after that meeting. Some circumstances might cause you to meet someone. I've seen situations where you meet someone in a hallway, you are rushing off, you're dashing ahead to do something. You cannot totally consider the possibilities in life just from that 1 minute, 2 minute conversation. And that's it. You must begin with the end in mind. It's very, very important. And sometimes some people don't believe that. I'll share with you two personal examples and then allow other questions, because there are some things I also really want to share today. But the first thing I'd like to say is this. Many, many years ago, and I hope you don't laugh at this, many, many, many years ago, I had a friend that during the days of BB, BlackBerry, I had a friend that introduced me to someone, and this was all the way in Canada. And then, of course, there was a culture clash. So this individual, we used to chat a lot, and very interesting. She's female, very interesting conversation and all that. And because of the person that introduced us, I kind of I had what they call it. I had this transference. Sometimes when someone introduces you to someone, you tend to allow them into your space with the recognition of the mediator or introductor, how do you call that? The person that introduces you. So we were all chatting. I was very free and all that. Then there was a break in transmission. And then she sent a message to me that there's WhatsApp. She's going on WhatsApp. I didn't know what WhatsApp was then. You know, that was the very, very early stage of WhatsApp before people started getting to WhatsApp. That is it WhatsApp? Yeah. That there was WhatsApp. She's tired of BBM, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, interesting. She said, can my phone go migrate on that? I said, I'll check and I like to understand platforms before I jump into it. So there was a break in transmission. And then all of a sudden, she chatted me up like some weeks after, I think 3 or 4 weeks after. I said, hello. I was like, hey, what's up? How are you? It's been a long time. I've missed you. That's what I said. And I did not know that I was opening the gates of hell to prevail against me. Because honestly, the next thing was like, how dare you? What do you mean? We just met. How can you say you miss me? Da, 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 da. I said, wait, what? Excuse me. We've been chatting and there was a break in transmission. And we started chatting again. And I'm saying, oh, it's been a while. I've missed you. I've missed you in the sense that I've missed you and our interaction. I've missed you and our conversation. Why are you going to say no? So I had to call my friend. I said, who is this kind of individual that introduced to me? And I said, oh, that, in fact, that was the end of that friendship because she didn't call me anymore. And I said, well, good riddance, because he said that, you know, the culture change here. You don't tell someone you've missed them because it feels like you're lying or they just met. I said, look, culture or no culture, at least my English serves me right. I was speaking contextually. I said, it's been a while. I've missed you. What will I miss about a person? I either miss the person in terms of the entire being, the interaction, the experience, or the conversation. So she should look at what has been before that conversation. If I make a mistake, she should cut me some slack. It shouldn't cause a fight. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You know, so I feel that when you begin with the end in mind, you already anticipate possibilities of cultural differences, anticipate personal differences, anticipate gaps. Some people are advanced than other people in communication. Some people are mature than other people in interaction. Some people are, if you can't imagine the people who've gone ahead of things. You know, someone says, hey, how was the day? And the person just tells you the real picture of how the day was, not some real. Hey, my day was, in fact, I started my day 4 a.m. Before you know it, we are still, after 20 minutes, we are at 8 a.m. now. You're like, oh dear. I didn't say, give me every hour account. But you see, these things happen. But the rule of thumb, let me just stop there, is begin with the end in mind. Nigerians, Africans, Europeans, Americans, people all over the world. If you want friendship to work, the rule of thumb is begin with the end in mind. Thank you.
That analogy, uh, that analogy is a really interesting one, and it brings to mind that when people are friends, there's a mixture of personalities, there's a mixture of backgrounds, there's a mixture of beliefs, there's a mixture of other preferences. People are not, you don't get your duplicates as your friend. And so when you have this friendship, and one thing I found out really is in friendships, if it's more than two people, there is usually one person or at least one person who is the more dominant person and the more dominant personality in that relationship. And what they usually would like to do, or maybe unconsciously, what they usually do is trying to make the other person them, and then that person is struggling along and is feeling, oh no, this is not me, but I want you to be happy. But I care about my friend. I really do have great intentions about this friendship. It's not about what I'm getting from you. But the other person is just living their lives like nothing, and they're feeling, oh, you're too slow. You need to catch up. You need to. So when things like this happen, Waithera, what do you think that we should be doing in what do you think? Let me not lead your answer, but what do you think we should be doing in situations like this?
Um, Hi everyone. So in situations where what? Sorry, I kind of missed that. Being
Being your mic
okay.
is muted.
Okay,
So
I'm struggling a little
in
with my mic.
situations where what?
So what
Sorry,
I'm
I kind of
asking is in a situation where um, one person is very dominant and wants to just clone the other person or the other parties in the relationship to be like them. What do we really do without the
com-
friendship breaking down?
uh, communicate. And I think the thing about how I think about friendship as well is that um no one is the friendship maliciously, like we all want to thrive, we all want to whatever the end is, we are all committed to it. And so considering that we are all from different backgrounds, um, we have different things coloring how we see things, then as you said, there's going to be differences, there's going to be differences in how we see things, in perspectives, in personality. And so if one person then is dominant or seems dominant or seems to push the agenda all the time, then it's up to the other person to, speak, to speak up and say, I feel pushed towards a certain direction, or this is not working for me as is. So I think it's a matter of communicating, and that brings also the issue of trust, because the reason why people do not communicate and say, you're being much, your own is too much. The reason why people do not communicate is because they don't trust that the friend will take it well. They don't trust that the friendship will survive. The friendship will survive that conversation. And so I think there's also the need to do that, to look at that. As for those of us who are the dominant people, I think it's important to also take time to be evaluating about how we deal, how are we around our friends. Are we are we checking with them, or are we just pushing things because we think because it's good for me, then it must be good for all of us. So I think those would be my suggestions. Communicate, and for the dominant person, keep checking with your other, with your friends, that they're okay with the direction. Also know them, like know who you're dealing with. Try and get to know your friends in that sense. Like, are they the kind of people? Because there are people who will never tell you. They will never tell you that this is hurting me. They will just keep collecting and collecting, and so, like, know your friends, and because they might not be necessarily honest because they're afraid, or people are just different. So for the dominant person, keep checking with yourself, keep checking with your friends.
Thank you very much for that. I like the aspect of checking with yourself, because many times we say that we are open to feedback, but in reality, we are not open to feedback. When people do give us feedback, we go ballistic. And then the person is thinking, oh, but what did I do? I was only giving you honest feedback. Um, I was only letting you know without, it wasn't, there was nothing to it.
And so, yes, I like the aspect of checking with ourselves and being honest with ourselves and really asking, am I doing right by this person? Am I being too much? Am I being too little also? Because there is the possibility of drawing back. And when it comes to that, I have a friend that could do anything for me. And I enjoyed the friendship, but at the time I got to the point where it started feeling parasitic to me because if he asked me, how are you? I would say everything exactly how I was. For me, how are you was not a great thing. It was really wanting to know, how are you doing? So I would tell him everything. Oh, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. This is blah, 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 blah. I would let everything out. And then when I ask him, how are you? He would say, oh, don't bother. Let's just take care of you. And it wasn't sitting well with me. I started feeling like I'm taking advantage of this person. He didn't say it that way. Unfortunately, communication whittled out because, yeah, it wasn't working. So you can really actually be doing too little. We need to check with ourselves. So making it more practical now, I would ask Omotola, let's move away from the friendship did not work, friendship, it's this. Let's move away from the negative and then ask, do you have great friends? And how have you been able to sustain those relationships?
Hello, does she have great friends? I'm Omotola's number
We are
one
here.
friend.
Let's answer now. Let
Hello,
Omotola.
hello.
Wonderful. See, they already answered the question, but jokingly. Anyway, so yes, I think I do, and I think I can definitely be better with it. And for me, I think it's not so much the length of like talking every day that makes a great friendship, because I'll say like in different seasons of life and different um what do you call it? Yeah, seasons of life. There might be difference in communication. It's a different thing. And so, like I said, being real and honest, most of my great friends, they're not in my physical location. They're not even like 5 miles away from me. They are always is either in another continent, in another country, on a different time zone, and things like that. Case in point, Mr. Rotimi and Vitera, we're still working on it, but it's a work in progress. We're going to fix it for us. And then one of my really great friends that I met when I was in during my master's degree, almost in 2012, 2013. Her name is Charlene. She's in Singapore. We don't talk a lot, but once a month, like we're already having our date this coming Thursday, that we're going to meet. She's like in Singapore, they're always almost 12 hours ahead of us, or I think I'm behind them 12 hours, whichever way. But we only talk once every 3 months, but it is so life giving. And we can spend 2 hours, 3 hours, and we just pick up as if we spoke yesterday. And so for me, that's one of the epitome of great friendship to me. My own definition is not feeling weird or uncomfortable if you've not spoken. You know, some people do like, you didn't speak to me, you didn't call me, you didn't do this. But because of the current stage, before when we were in graduate school, every day we used to talk and meet and everything. But things change over the time. Before it used to be like, oh, every week we chat for like twice in a week or something. But life has changed and shifted for both of us in so many different ways. And so being accommodative of that, I think that's part of great friendship, understanding where your friends are at, like what is going on in their life, and understand that even though they may not be talking to you every day, that does not mean that they don't care. That doesn't mean that they are not thinking about you or praying for you, if the spiritual kind of person and you're both that way. And so for me, great friendship is not about how long or how many times or how frequently you speak, but the quality of it, and what you can do for each other even within the minimum time that you have. And for me, I think one of my challenges is trying to build that kind of relationship in person. So that's one of my big thing right now is like, okay, where I am, wherever I find myself. But because the stage of my life has been so, it's not stable right now. It's like moving almost every 2 years or every 1 year from one place to another. So that has not really helped that matter. But irrespective of not even having the physical ones like within where I live or where I stay, having those like online friendship, and thank God for technology. Before it used to be Skype, now we don't have to use Skype. Now it's WhatsApp, now it's FaceTime, now it's Zoom and Google Meet. So the options are much, because before it used to be chatting on Skype. Then there was not even like video one was not even available then. But now things have really shifted, and we have many more different opportunities. So I think the great point I'll say I do. It's not about, and it's not about the number. It's not about having 100. No, I think if you have 100, you cannot even do justice to them, right? So I said in the private chat, I was like, there, like I know I've had of like different kind of friends. So there's the casual friendship, there is the close friendship, and then there's the core. So I'll say it for sure that I think I do more of the core than the casual and close. And so that's what I've seen. The pattern I've seen in myself is like I do more of the core than the close or casual. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Technology really, I think it's a blessing for friendships. I have a lot of my friends, or maybe like 90% of my friends, not in the same location with me. And these are people that I have known from when none of us needed to impress each other. So when we were at our basest, where we were just being us, and it's easy to keep those relationships going. And technology has really, really been an integral part of that. So I'm going to ask Mr. Itayo this question because it directly applies to you here.
Ah,
So
what directly applies to me?
fear not, the question is coming.
I'm the courage coach. I don't fear.
Oh, okay. Good affirmation. So let there are people who, by virtue of who they are or what they do, have a lot of people around them or in their network. And when they are guys and when they are single guys, we say things like, "Oh, it's very difficult for him to be able to pick which lady really loves him because there's so many of them around and all." So for people who, because of the kind of things they do or the kind of jobs they do or activities they're involved in, have a lot of people around them. Every time they turn, there is somebody. How easy is it to sieve true and proper friendships in this kind of situations?
So I'm wondering how it applies to me. Do I have a lot of people around me?
Really, really.
Anyway, KK is my friend. Just so you know, KK is my friend. We're bad like that. All right. So how do you work? Well, I think that my answers will be in two segments. The first segment is I'll give you a personal application, then I'll give you a principal application. Personal application based on the fact that I think I'm a special human being. I normally tell people that God created 7 types of Rotimi tile, and he only sent one to Africa. The 6 I'm not sure are alive. So apparently I'm the only one on earth right now. So there's no one that's going to be after me. There can only be one rotator, one me only. All right. So how do I handle a lot of friends that are around, or how do I handle a lot of people who consider me friends, and they're almost everywhere based on my kind of lifestyle or schedule and the likes? I think that there's this thing that I have in my head I target a we consciousness. So it's just there. So, and I noticed that the moment you are we conscious, you tend to have more or less a better ability to juggle friendship. You might not be perfect at it, but you are able to juggle friendship. And in some cases, you recognize that you have 24 hours to share your life and yourself and your time with the world. So I try to see how that can be leveraged. So sometimes you just have it at the back of your mind to check up on people. But then I segment some things. There are people in my sphere that don't require sacrifice. So there are certain times that the way I am able to allot time for friendship is I look at, there are some friends who need some measure of my sacrificing for them. And sacrifice can mean anything, maybe extra time, maybe late hours, maybe funding, maybe giving or gifting. Sacrifice can come from there. And sometimes I have friends that probably require some measure of privilege. So there are people that they've gotten privileged access so they can talk to you almost anytime. They can reach you, they can call you without a schedule, without, oh, I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. There are people that will tell you, I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. You don't just jump out of the blue and say, hey, you're not God. It's only God that can say, my son, where are you? I say, yeah, I am. But there are people that, even when they say, is this a good time? I can't say it's a bad time. I hope I don't say it's a bad time, but honestly, I'll just say, talk. I could spare a minute. So there are people that have been able to give that privilege. And then there are sometimes friends that I lot what I call routine check to such kind of people. So in my mind, I've not spoken to so and so in a week, or I've not spoken to so and so this month. So I either chat or send messages and all that. By the time you try to use these principles, you will find out that you will be able to think more about people. And remember, I said for me, I begin with the end in mind. I don't believe in using people. I believe in using things. I believe we need to love people. And most of the time, I see friendships as seeds. You might not get the fruit now, and it might not look visible. Sometimes some people say, I don't see the value. I don't see the need. I've heard people say that. There's a particular friend of mine that said something like that one time. I had to say, shut up. That was the first time the person heard me say shut up. The person was shocked. I said, yes, you need to shut up. It's not an insult. It is shut up. It's not everybody that you will see their immediate value. It's not everyone. Not everyone. Some people are stored up value for the future. And even if at all you don't get any value, let me tell you something. You've been a beneficiary of some value somewhere else. So it's your time to also give back. God has placed us around people to be answers or an extension of himself. So yes, sometimes I feel that people might not be that faithful to friendship, or people might have not been that fair enough to me. But that's why it's called feeling. It will come and it will go, especially when I take a cup of tea, it will always go. So tea does a lot of wonders when it comes to friendship, especially if it's a hot cup of tea or coffee. I hope that works though. So thank you.
And on the tea matter, I just rest my case. I mean,
Have you noticed that in Team Masters, the first three letters is T?
tea. There's a reason the first three. There's a reason the first word in Team Masters is T, and yeah, all the best, all the best to that. And welcome, Mrs. Ajayi. While we were just translating to this question, she came in, and I really would like to. I really would like to take your opinion about friendships. What's your take on friendship and making it work? We're not
I'm
hearing you.
muted. Yeah, I just noticed I was muted. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. It's always amazing to be on this show. In my opinion, right, friendships are important, right? But I mean, I'll use the analogy of a sheep in explaining how I see friendship is. So to be friends means to be friends with somebody you can talk with, somebody you can chat with, somebody you hang out with. And if you think about a sheep, right, if everybody's on a sheep and you think about it like that, then there's so many different type of people on the sheep. But even on the sheep, there are different levels, right? There's the top deck, there's the middle deck, and then there's the low deck, right, on the sheep. And even on the sheep, even if you look at the levels, but then if you look at the um front to back of a sheep, so the top deck of the sheep, you have where the captain is, right, steering the ship, and then you have maybe the middle part, and then you have the stern, which is maybe further down, right? And there are people on every single part of these places on that ship. And that's how I see friends, right? There's some friends who are right with me in the cockpit, if I want to use that as an example. They're there where I'm steering it, they're there where I'm planning, where I'm saying, oh, you know what, do I go left, do I go right, you know what, maybe we need to move forward, maybe. They're there when the sun is in my eyes, they're there when it's moon, they're there. But that doesn't mean that they can't move. They can.
The mistake a lot of us make, myself included, is that we feel because somebody is our friends, they need to be with us where we are steering the ship. Not necessarily. They could be on the top deck, but they could be at the very back, right? They could be somewhere in the middle, or they could be with us in there. They could be on the middle deck. They could be on the lower deck. You
It
just
could
need
be
to understand.
maintenance.
Exactly, Mr. Rotimi. They could be in maintenance, honestly. They could be. They could be the ones that are lowering the boat for people that are going to go and have fun in another part of the ocean, not away from the ship, right? So you need to understand who you need and when you need it, right? And that's how you make it work. Because if it's not working for you and you're putting in so much and there's nothing coming out from it, becomes a chore. And friendship honestly shouldn't be a chore. It should be something that you enjoy. And you only enjoy it when people are placed where they need to be placed. And so that what happens is that you are managing expectations, you are managing even the time that you're spending on all of these things. Because the reality is there's just one of you, right? And we need to learn how to prioritize ourselves. That doesn't mean that we should be selfish. No, there's a time where you actually let go of all that you want. Why? Because of the friendship that you have. Somebody needs something, you're like, you know what, this doesn't work for me right now, but this person needs it. But then that must be somebody who is maybe in the cockpit with you, right? So, or somebody who you are nurturing. There are other people who you say, oh, do you want to take a look at what happens here? And then you move them back out, right? So it's okay for people to move in and out of the different levels of that you have placed them in. It honestly is okay, all right? Because there are times where you move them, there are times where they move. If you try and hold on to something that is not working, then there's no way you're going to make it work, because all of that is going to be coming from you, except of course you are nurturing a friendship. You're nurturing a friendship or nurturing a relationship, then you know why you're in it and why you're making those sacrifices. But if you're making it simply because you want to be liked, it can be very burdening, and it becomes and when it's honestly, when it's a chore, I'm done with it. And that's how I see my life. There are different people that I lean on for different things, and there are different people that lean on me for different things and at different times of their lives. And that's how what I believe friendship should be. It's a ship. Sometimes you need to get out of the ship, sometimes you need to get back on, sometimes you need to take people out, sometimes you need to bring back in. But you know what, at the end of the day, it really shouldn't be about somebody else and what somebody else feels. It really should be about you. And again, it comes from a place of self-awareness. If you're not aware of who you are, where you're going, and what matters to you, then anything will matter. And that in itself is like almost criminal, if I can use that word. Yeah, so that's it from me, for now. Back to you.
Thank you very much. That's really very profound. I mean, looking at friendship as a ship and the different parts of a ship, sometimes we believe or we tend to want to put our friends in that frame where they have to be the co-pilot all the time. They have to be right there. I have to look beside me and literally see you there all the
Mm,
time. And
mm-mm.
the moment that person is not there, we begin to throw tantrums and say, "Oh,
Yeah,
but I've been there for you all my life. Now I need you. You're not
it
there." And
doesn't follow. Yeah, it doesn't
not
follow.
realizing that it's not always like that.
No.
If everyone who walks on a ship was to be in one part of the ship, then definitely there's going to be that ship definitely is not going anywhere, and it
Mm-hmm.
will be in an accident, because where those
Mm.
who are supposed to be at maintenance are not there, those who are supposed to be in the kitchen, those who are supposed,
Yeah,
when they're
yeah.
not where they're supposed to be,
It's not gonna
then
work.
there is chaos
Yeah,
there.
and I believe that. I mean, I just saw something that, or Latunde Adebayo, a comment that he made, that friendship reasons could be for business and business only. The reality is that sometimes we put labels that we have no business slapping on people, right? Some people are just acquaintances. Some people are people that I speak with. Some people are people that I do business with, right? Everybody shouldn't be lumped into that my friend bracket, and it's really important, because for your own peace of mind and your mental. Nah, not everybody is a friend. Some people, yeah, like there's a sheep analogy, really. So let's put labels where labels need to be placed and take them off where they need to be taken off, or exchange them where they need to be exchanged.
Thank you so much for that. And we also have with us Lishola Olumide. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. A great one from Madam Kiki there. I think
Mr.
I came in
Olushola, this my madam, please,
just
oh,
in time.
remove that
Well,
madam.
no. Good morning, everyone. Waitara there. I think I can see Dr. Motola there. The project director. I hope he's there. I can't see his face because this thing is blocking me. Good morning. Then Madam FFF. Good morning. Yeah.
Okay, so one question I would ask is, at what point do we terminate friendships?
Is that meant for me?
Yes.
Let me ride on the wing of Madam KK. I think we shouldn't force friendship when it's becoming toxic, and if you have, if somebody is a saboteur, professes to be your friend but actually not your friend. Understanding the fact that everybody will not be in the same place at the same time, but there are people that come into your space only to spy on your liberty. They are not there to aid you or help you. And along the line, when you discover that your value system no longer aligns, there are people who've known each other maybe over 2, 3 decades and will be coming all the way. There must be a common denominator. So if the common denominator is no longer there, and there's no point just being there, it should be toxic. And instead of we fighting or decimating everything we built over the years, maybe we just give each other space. And of course, don't we shouldn't forget that every friend you have also has a friend. So that is not, it's not a one-way thing. You have friends to the right, you have friends to the left, you have friends to the front, you have friends to the back. Based on what brought you together, some you went to the same high school, some you went to the same university, some it is business, some it is family friend. So different aspects of life. And of course, as we journey in life, we keep meeting new people, we keep meeting new friends. So if it's no longer healthy, I think there's no point trying to force it. It isn't a marriage, by the way. Even when marriage becomes toxic, when there is threat to life and what have you, you don't have to die because you're in a marriage. How much, not to talk of even talking about friendship, but do you know there are friends who are closer than brothers? Go and check it very well. It's because of the investment of each on each other. And I tell people, loyalty is the dividend you receive for the investment you make in people's life. Some friends will stay almost perpetually, yes, because you are giving value, you cherish them, you appreciate them. Nobody is trying to backstab the other person. No one is becoming envious. When somebody is becoming envious because of your success or greatness, I don't think that person is your friend. And of course, nobody wants to have a Judas as a friend. So when our friend turned out to be Judas, of course, I'm not Jesus. Jesus knew Judas, and yet he had the grace to, but I don't have such grace. If I notice my friend is becoming Judas, I have to offload that friend. So that was I was saying. Thank you very much.
Feel that. I'm beginning to feel like we'll be taking quotable quotes away from Olivier Michela on the show every morning. He has a way of us bringing in those hit points, and it will just hit it. And when you talked about your friend has a friend, I just remembered, that popular saying that your boo has a boo. In this case, your boo is your friend. But so when you think that, oh, this boo should have my 100%, should be 100% for me, that boo also has another boo that is saying you should also be my 100%. But I don't know how you guys feel, but it feels to me like this particular topic should have a second part. I mean, this morning is when I feel like we should be on the show for 2 hours, because there's still quite a lot of things to talk about and to examine when it comes to friendship. So I am seriously thinking maybe we should do a second part to this and thoroughly go through all so many other different dynamics that comes into friendships. But while we consider that, this has to be the size of our show this morning. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's been a really, really beautiful discussion and a very robust one. And in popular lingo now, I'll say wahala for anybody who missed this show this morning. No, like serious wahala for them. They need to catch up on the recap. Thank you so much for being here, tribe members. Thank you. I'm trying to quickly go through the names of the people that have dropped comments this morning. Olatunde Adebayo, our executive tribe member. Thank you for always being there. And Fachom, oh God, I don't want to mess up that name, but thank you so much for being here. And to Omotola Waithera, Mr. Olushola Olumide, Mrs. Ajayi, and Mr. Rotimi Tayo, thank you for being here this morning. We'll be rounding off on our usual very high notes.
Does Mr. Olushola know his video is on?
I'm not sure he did. I'm not sure he did.
I just noticed that. Thank you.
Yeah, he was moving, and I guess it just went. That wasn't that phone is not a very good friend at this time. Like, train your friend. Okay, so let's end the show this morning in our usual way. So at the count of two, team, let's take it away. 1, 2. It's always
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Waithera.